Dean's Institute. Today we're going to start a new series in learning advanced Excel series. As you can see, I have opened a file called Sales of Fruits. It basically has a table called Sale of Fruits. It could be sale, it could be purchases. Basically, the idea behind this tutorial is to teach you how to multiply two numbers in order to get the value, which is the product. So over here it will be done manually. Let me go ahead and delete this and this one as well. So basically, whenever you want to calculate product of two numbers, you need to start with an equal sign. Any formula, for that matter of fact, in Excel you should start with a equal sign. Then select the first value and press and hold shift and press number 8 to get the multiplication sign, and then click the second cell where the where the second number is, and then press enter. You get the value. Now you don't need to do it manually in the subsequent cells because there is an easier way of doing it. Select the cell where you have entered the formula, go to the bottom edge, extreme bottom edge of the cell, and it will turn into a plus sign. Double click it and the formula will be carried into the remaining cells. And as you can see here, it is C3 by D3, which means this column and this row, C3 into this column into this row. So it's exactly this cell. So basically it's telling I'm multiplying the value given in this cell with the value given in this cell. And smartly Excel has changed the row number. It has maintained the same column, but because the formula is mentioned in column E4, as you can see over here, E4, so it is taken C4 into D4, and it's the same follows for the rest. So this is how you do it manually. Now there's another easier way of doing it by creating a macro, so you don't have to keep entering the formula or dragging and dropping in order to do that. So the macro is basically you have a button on the sheet where there is code assigned to it, and when you press the button it does exactly the same calculation. So the advantage of this is, you don't have to one time if you create a macro, you can use it n number of times. The second thing is that anytime if you add any row or you delete any row, the macro will take care of that automatically. Now let's see how we create this macro. I'm going to delete this, and I will also delete this part. I will also delete this. Let's start afresh. So in order to draw the button, go into the Insert tab, go to Illustrations and Shapes, and select the rounded rectangle, and then draw that, and then double click it, and I'm entering the word product. I'm pressing shift and up arrow key, it selects the entire text, and then I go to the font size, I increase it to 20, and I make it to appear as a bold face. And then I also go into vertical alignment and horizontal alignment. Now it's become quite prominent. Now normally you may not have the developer tab. There is a separate video in order to show how to get that on your ribbon, but as of now I assume that you do have that. Click the developer tab, and if you go and click the macro, which is the second icon on your left. There is a macro created already, but let's go and delete that so that we can create it now. So I go ahead and select the entire code and delete it. And now let's try to minimize this size so that it becomes easy to follow. Both the windows will be there, one next to the other. Now let's come back over here onto Excel, and then let me minimize this a little more. And then I select the Excel, I go back to macro. Now that macro is not there. Let's create a new macro. I'm giving the name as product, and there is a add button. We click that. Now you have it's brought us into the code window where there is a subroutine called product. Now first of all, we need to declare some variables. Dim is the keyword you need to use to declare variables. We need 4 variables. One to check the number of rows that have been entered. I take that as I'll store it in the variable I. Then I want one for the quantity, which is Q. So I give a variable Q as integer. As I press IN, it is suggesting me that are you trying to type integer? I have to press tab in order for it to complete it. Now P is for the price, and prod is for the product, that is Q into P. So I create one more integer, prod as integer. Now we want to assign the values, the number of rows which have been filled, to the variable I. So it goes like this: I is equal to sheets, the sheet name is sheet 1 in this case. This has to be in closed inverted commas. Then let's use the cells rows count property. So you have to type a dot cells open parenthesis rows dot count comma, and I will be taking B column. B column is number 2. So I pressed enter 2, close the parenthesis, dot end Excel up dot row. So basically this should give us the number of rows data has been filled in. I'm using the message box method in order to find out if the code is correct. Microsoft Excel 12, that's exactly 12 rows have been filled. So I go ahead and delete this. Now we need to, since it is a repetitive action, the Excel has to multiply these two values, store that value, enter it here, then it has to go to the next line, do it for this one, so on and so forth. So it is a iterative or repetitive action. So that's why we use a for loop. For I is equal to, since the data is starting from the 3rd row, we will be using 3 to I. In this case I will be 12, as I showed you earlier. What we want the value of Q to be assigned. Use the cells property, cells value property. So I, which is number 3 in this case, and since the value is in C, we will mention column 3 dot value. So whatever is there in row 3, that is C3, column 3 row 3, that will be assigned to the variable Q for the first time. P is equal to cells I comma 4 because it is in column D, which is fourth column. Now we want prod is Q into P. This is where it is actually doing the calculation. It takes 2 into 100 is equal to 200. This is how it would do and store that value into the variable prod. Now we want that value to be assigned in this cell, which is row 3F. So which is I comma F is number 6 dot value is equal to prod. So basically prod was stored here, now it is getting transferred into the cell value property for the F3. Now just to ensure that the values are center aligned, horizontally aligned, I'll just give I'll use the range property. Range F dot horizontal alignment is equal to XL center. So that's about it. Just save it and come back to Excel. Now if you go and see, there is this macro created. Now all we have to do is assign that macro to this button. You select it, you click OK. Now select anywhere outside in the screen so that you come out of it. Now if you press, okay, I'm sorry, I forgot next I. So once it reaches here, it calculates, it picks the value from here, this value multiplies, stores it here. Now next I, it goes to the next row, so on and so forth. So I had missed to write the next I, and this is how Excel will guide us if we do make a mistake. So let's try it again. There you are. So it has calculated exactly the same values. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you've not subscribed till now, please go ahead and click the subscribe button and also the bell icon so that you can get the next video notification. Thank you. See you in the next video. Bye.